Hi. Let me start this by saying, for the last time, I'm not going to repeat this again, that I'm afraid that some of you are going to be very unpleasantly surprised because you are not living up to your responsibilities. When you register for a course, it's a contract. And you've got to abide by every single one of the provisions in that particular contract. You were supposed to have submitted a topic a long time ago. Then I reminded you maybe 10 days ago, I reminded you last week, and up until now, I have very many people that have not submitted a contract, a topic, and I also have a very large number of people that have not been doing their homework as far as the contributions to and the comments on the blog are concerned. I mean, you're free to either contribute or not to contribute, but I'm afraid that this would be reflected in your final grade. Now, having said this, for the last time, I'm not going to repeat it again. Let me right now just say the few words that I had in mind. The assignment for this week, one of the assignments at least for the week, was to read the 7-page or 8-page article by Jeffrey Sachs that is found in the Road to Rio. Now, that article by Jeffrey Sachs was a marvelous one, because he touches upon many of the important issues and he deals with them in a very nice, simple way. If for nothing else, but to highlight the importance that we need to adopt a new kind of a paradigm whereby we've got to de-emphasize, if not even do totally with economic growth, if we are serious about living in a world whereby we meet the constraints that are imposed on us by the finiteness of all of these natural resources. The other issue that he makes it very clear is that right from the beginning our models seem to be wrong, because we do not take into consideration the fact that the economy is really a subset of the environment. You'll find out that in general, especially those of you who have taken economics, that we try to present economics, the mainstream economics, without really making any references to the idea of the limits that are imposed on it by the finiteness of the resources. However, the only issue that I want to stress today is the issue that again is mentioned and is dealt with rather adequately by Professor Sachs in this particular article, and that is the IPAT. In my mind, there is no way that one can deal with any environmental issue without dealing with the problem of population. And whenever you want to speak about population, the central issue always in the back of one's mind, if not spoken out completely clearly, is the issue of IPAT. I is equal to PAT. I am slightly in disagreement with the presentation by Professor Sachs, because I don't believe that it should be I is equal to P times A times T, but that is a completely different issue which I'm not going to bother dealing with the details right now. The important thing is that I is the measure of the environmental impact. And what we're really saying is that this measure of environmental impact is influenced by a number of different factors. It's not due only to one factor. P is the number of people, and we are right now up to 7 billion, as we've indicated that before. A is the level of affluence, i.e. it's the lifestyle. and T is the technology. Now, what is very clear when you consider the I is equal to PAT is that you're saying that there is a very specific kind of relationship between the I, between the P, between the I and the A, and the I and the T. The size of our ecological footprint as a whole, for the world as a whole, is really directly related to the number of people, all other things being equal. Which implies that as the number of people increases, so would our environmental impact. The other thing that is important, however, is that it's not only the number of people that determines the environmental impact, but it's also the lifestyles. Now, what is crucially important about this is that if you go ahead and you Google ecological footprints, for example, and go ahead and calculate your own footprint, obviously most of these issues are really rough estimates, but you'll find out that the typical American requires around 20 to 24 acres of land in order to provide whatever is needed to provide this particular lifestyle. Now, so what's wrong with that? Well, what's wrong with it is that we don't have enough land in order to supply all the 7 billion people with that particular lifestyle. Actually, you'll find out that if the 7 billion people are going to lead a lifestyle that is similar to yours and mine, then we'd need 5 to 6 planets. So as you can see, affluence is hugely important. I mean, this has been expressed in a number of ways, but probably as many of you are aware, one of the ways of expressing this is to say, for example, and this is very rough, the typical American or Westerner will consume as many resources as, say, for example, 10 Indians or 20 people from Chad. So when you want to compare then the size of population or population growth in a country that has a very low standard of living with a country that has a very high standard of living, then the issue really is not only limited to numbers, but is also limited to lifestyles. However, all other things being equal, what do we find out? We find out that the relationship between environmental impact, ecological footprint, and technology is an inverse one. That's to say, as technology improves, it is very possible that the environmental impact is going to be reduced. However, we can also conclude rather convincingly that the reductions due to improvements in technology are not going to be large enough as to compensate for the increases due to affluence and due to the increasing number. So that, as you can see, leaves us really with only one conclusion. Numbers are important, they're not the only things, but a combination of number and affluence are going to go and way overbalance the potential contributions of technological improvements. Actually, there are some people that do not believe in the improvement of technology or in the contribution of technology. But let's assume that technology is going to make some improvement. But what that implies is that this environmental problem does not have a technological solution. And there is a subset of problems in the world that does not cannot be solved through a technological solution. So with that, I will talk to you again sometime soon.